Asheville, North Carolina. Make it loud for Josh Johnson!
I've been very excited to come here. It's been years since I've been to Asheville, and I like being here because y'all have it all. You know, you have like street crime and woods crime. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like, this is one of the only places in America where a deer could get shot with a Uzi. You know what I mean? Like, y'all really moving out here. No, it's incredible. I was, last time I was here, we were on the road and we were headed to a show, and there was a dude, okay, there's no good way to pop out the woods. I'm trying to be fair to him, right? Like, I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know how it could have been better, but there's no good way. This dude, we're passing by in the car, and, things happen fast when you're on the highway and everything, but from far away until I passed him, I see this dude pop out going, and it's so hard to tell if he needed help or if someone else needed help. Do you know what I mean? Like, you either the victim or the assailant, but you looking like you could be equal parts right now. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't like his head, like it wasn't like he had an injury or something. He's like, oh, what happened? He looked surprised that there wasn't more woods to run through. This dude popped out of the woods like there was supposed to be more trees. This man popped out of the woods and froze. And my friends and I were just looking at him in the car as we passed. One pointed and, okay. He ran out of the woods as if to be like, oh, I made it, I'm free. Or, damn, they got away. I can't tell which one it was. No, because he was dressed. It wasn't like he was a naked man, but okay, even if you're wearing clothes, there's a certain amount of legs open that make you feel naked to other people. You know what I mean? The fact that he ran out like this, it doesn't matter that I have pants on right now. This is a very naked stance to take. This doesn't look, these aren't regular clothed stances. And so the fact that he ran out of the woods and stopped and was looking around, it's like, you might as well be naked because you're making us a naked amount of uncomfortable, you know? My man busted out of the woods. And, I wasn't next to him. I was in a car. Thank God I was in a car. But you could just tell from looking at him, he breathing heavy, which means he was running in the woods for quite a while. Looking around all low. Why? Just stand up. Like, do you know what I mean? There's nothing to hide behind now. So being this low, legs open, looking around, this is a much more comfortable position to look around in. This man ran out, and we saw him. Okay, so we saw when he busted out of the woods, we were pulling up. So we saw him bust out of the woods, and then one of my friends pointed, and I know he couldn't hear us. I know he couldn't hear us. Like you should know I know that. I know he couldn't hear us, and the windows were up. He couldn't hear us, right? But my friend was like, do you see that guy? And right when he said, do you see that guy? This man, I turned, I looked, and he looked at me. Now, I know I'm in a moving car. He probably just looking in my direction. But I screamed like he was in the car. I wanted to have nothing to do. The fact that this man, I'm lit like this, and then this man, nah. Sometimes it's not the time to smile, smiling after running out of the woods. I think you are the assailant. I think that you... But no, it's great to be back. It's great to be back in Asheville with you. Can I tell you a story? When I was a kid, I was walking down the street, and it's funny, man. Art can save your life. It really can. Cause I was walking down the street, and there was this dude right in front of me, right? And I wasn't like too close to him, but I was just basically keeping up pace with him, and we hit a light, and so he stopped, I stopped, and I was just looking around, and I saw a new mural that had been painted, and I don't know, it just fascinated me. I took a second to look at it, and I guess the light had changed, and we had the right of way, and he went off walking, and I was still just staring at it, and then just as I decided that I had taken it in enough, I turned and got ready to take that step off the sidewalk. And then in the middle of the street, this car had, I guess, run a light and was about to run another light, and it hit that guy, the guy that I was right behind, you know? And he's okay, by the way. I mean, he did get hit by a car, but like he's the level of okay that you are years after getting hit by a car. He moved on. Like, he walked away that day. It mostly hit his ass, but like it did graze him in a way that, like, because I was just a couple steps behind him and because I've been keeping pace with him for a whole street, I was like, that would have hit me square. You know? And I mean, they were trying to stop. They had slammed on the brakes. That's actually maybe one of the reasons I turned, because I started hearing the screech and I saw it, boom. And he got up, but he did bounce. Like it's like, if he bounced, I would have flown. I don't know why it is when you get hit by a car, sometimes your shoe fly off. I don't know why people don't tie their shoes tight enough, but like, this thing like hit him from behind. He spun and he went up a little bit and his shoe flew right, but his shoe took so little resistance to fly off. Like, it would be different if he had like rolled over the windshield and the shoe flew off after that. But the shoe started flying off before it looked like he was really going in the air. It looked like he had one shoe and one sandal. The shoe was so ready to fly off. Anyway. I still can't get over what happened Sunday at the Super Bowl. Like I want to be clear about something, right? I watched the Super Bowl not really rooting for any one team, just sort of watching to watch. This is a big event and everything. And the Chiefs lost harder than the Eagles won. I don't know if that sentence makes enough sense, but it, like, at a certain point, I was just like, maybe I could play. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not good either. I could get tackled too. Oh, that was rough. That was hard. There was one point where I was watching it, and I was like, guys. You want to watch a good game. Like, in my mind, you want to watch a good game, especially when you don't have any loyalty to any team. You just want to watch like a really fun, wow, that's crazy type game. And it was such a thrashing that I was like, y'all, not in front of Taylor. Taylor done shown up and got dressed and everything. And there was one point that they went to Taylor on the camera and they booed Taylor I was like, what did she do? Do you know what I mean? There's nothing America hates more, apparently, than a woman minding her business. Because even she was like, I couldn't have done anything. But I tell you what, I want somebody to believe in me, to really, truly, from the bottom of their heart, believe in me the way those commentators believed the Chiefs could make a comeback. The things that I was hearing made me feel dumb. I started to feel like I didn't understand football at all the way they were talking. They were talking so wild about, so first 10 points that the Eagles got, they were like, hey, fun little fact for you. Every time the Chiefs win in a Super Bowl, they come from behind. I was like, what stat is that? All right. Okay. And then the Eagles scored another touchdown. They were like, well, it's only the first half. Anything could happen next half. It's like, all right. And then they have the halftime show. Then they come back from the halftime show, and then they're asking one of the announcers. They're asking one of the commentators, like, what was the mood like in the locker room for the Chiefs? Like, what was the plan? And the person they were talking to was like, they know. No, they know they like 34, 39, whatever points behind. They were mostly talking about that. They were like, oh, we got to go out there and correct that. That doesn't feel good at all. We got to do the opposite of that next time. Was the general mood in there, was to just be different than they were before. I think there was a little prayer. Yeah, they were in, they were in tough spirits, but they're gonna try and make a comeback in this next, because Taylor's here. We gotta do it. And it was the third quarter. Eagles scored again. And the announcers came on, they're like, look, you never want to celebrate too early if you're the Eagles, right? Because you have no idea what these Chiefs could do. You can tell they're just trying to save the ratings as hard as possible to make it seem like there could be this 10-second comeback of 59 points or whatever they need. It was the most insane. I was like, no one has ever believed in me the way that they're like, you never know though. Even when it was the last 5 minutes, they were like, you never want to celebrate too early because that's how you can lose the game even when you are 99 points ahead, okay? It's the hubris that loses games. I'm sitting there like, do I not know how to count? Like, it's too many sevens away. I think they got it. Like, I'm not the best at math, right? I'm not the best at math. I needed a math tutor, and my math, okay, I was in algebra, okay. Math is like one of the only things that I really struggle with genuinely, and not like basic math, but math once it gets conceptual, right? And so I had to take Algebra 1 twice. It's the only class in my life, I think, or maybe there's one other, but it's one of the only classes I've ever failed and had to take again, right? And so I'd take Algebra 1 twice, and I was so thankful when I finally got a C after the second time, and then they made me take Algebra 2, and I was like, last I checked, 1 + 1 is 2. I don't know what y'all are trying to do to me, okay? But I was at Algebra 1, okay, I had 2 math tutors, and one tutor quit. One tutor quit because it was, okay, they were helping me, and then I was basically getting things so wrong that they were questioning. They had to get away from me before they didn't know algebra anymore. And so then I knew I was bad. I knew that algebra was never gonna be in my job description because my second tutor, there was one time we were working on a problem and she stopped herself just short of fully saying it, but she saw me struggling so hard. This woman almost said, sound it out. And And she stopped herself, but you could tell, like, beneath the surface, there was this thing of like, I don't even know how to help right now. And don't get me wrong, I'm not judging. I hate when people look at the efforts of like elite athletes as if they're not all incredible. The Kansas City Chiefs are good. They were just bad that day against the Eagles. I throw a football like I just got an arm. So I'm not gonna be over here judging too harshly, right? It's just the way that they fought so hard. Oh no, they can pull it out. Trust me, they can do it. You know? And then my friend shared a theory with me. This was crazy. This dude told me, I was talking to my buddy David, and David said, because I told him the thing I just told you, right? I was like, I've never seen a game like that where they've tried to make it seem so even the whole time, even though the numbers were on the screen. And my buddy David said that Tom Brady was one of the ones really pushing that narrative, and he thinks that it was because Tom Brady is jaded from the fact that off of this potential three-peat, people are already calling Patrick Mahomes like a GOAT, like putting him in that conversation. And so they're like, they're basically lifting up Patrick Mahomes very quickly and very young, very like, you could even maybe say a little early in his career for the GOAT conversation. And then Tom Brady, who's obsessed with the game and gave so much of his life to it, sees that and feels some type of way. And so he was basically telling me that every time they did that, that was actually just Tom Brady digging in. And I watched some of it again, and I think he might be right. Because it was coming off hella sassy when you watch it back with that context. Like when you see Tom Brady commentating on the game, he's like, yeah, Mahomes. I mean, you never know with these Kansas City Chiefs and how good Mahomes is. Maybe he can come back from 30 points. I mean, maybe he's just that good. We don't know, right? A lot of people are calling him the GOAT. I mean, not today, but a lot of people are calling him the GOAT. So maybe he could do it. Interesting strategy, getting sacked again. I've never seen anything, but this Patrick, he's good. He's very good. He's probably used this as a strategy to lose by so many points in the first half that he really comes back in the second half. Because he can, because he's Patrick Mahomes. You know, back when I was playing, I tried to not get sacked, but I guess if I had been sacked more and then won after that, people would be more impressed, but it's... And then you had the Super Bowl halftime show. By Kendrick Lamar. This was crazy because, okay, everyone has their opinions about it, right? But I know when I was watching it and it started and I saw Samuel L. Jackson. I saw Samuel L. Jackson, camera goes over to Samuel L. Jackson, he's like, it's your uncle, Sam. And I was like, oh, we had already started. That was dope. That was dope to have Samuel L. Jackson as Uncle Sam was dope. Because one thing is obviously the little like wink wink, cute thing, right? But one thing that Kendrick is incredible at doing, something I haven't seen people really be able to do, whether it's through music or imagery, is layers to a story. And there's multiple layers to everything that happened, right? Samuel Jackson is playing Uncle Sam in Body of America, welcoming us to the great American game. The great American game is in the game of Kendrick's life that's about to play out, right? That's why we see the PlayStation controller on the football field, the game as in football, and the game as in the thing that we're all in, the thing that we all play. Whether you feel like you're playing it or not, you're a part of it. You know? And one thing you have to watch out, because Kendrick leaves these Easter eggs and stuff like that, you also can read so deep into it, you go off on a deep end where if you were able to talk to Kendrick, he would be like, nah. the internet is full of them. The internet is full of like, yeah, so then he had these dancers come out in red, white, and blue because Drake, because he beat Drake blue, and then you gonna see red because we beat him so much that the red comes out and Drake is white. Like, I think that's a very misguided take. But you can get there. It's very easy to get there. You start searching, hunting, trying to read into every little thing. And if you're not careful, yeah, you go off on some deep end. That's not what anybody intended, you know? And this dude says it because that's the other thing. He sets you up with some pretty fire lines that make you start digging. He specifically says, you wouldn't get the picture if I sat you for hours in front of the Louvre. So now even I'm digging. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, the Louvre. All right. Drake is Canadian, French Canadian, the Louvre. Yeah, French Canadian, the Louvre, like in France where they keep the art. But Drake's not an artist, no. No, that might not be it. That might be, that was dumb, my bad. And so he does the snippet, some people are calling it bodies, and then he does Squabble Up, and out of nowhere, after Squabble Up, Samuel Jackson comes out again, no. Too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. One of the things that if you've been black in America at any point you've heard about yourself, whether you overheard it from people talking behind your back or it was told to your face, too loud, too reckless, too ghetto, there's something wrong with you just being yourself. You know? And it's delivered by Uncle Sam. Right? I don't know, when I go to like a new place, one time my friend was asking me, because I travel so much, he's like, how do you know how racist a place is when you go there? You know, don't you think about it? I was like, yeah, I think about it. You know, if you're black and you travel America, you think about it a little bit. And I was like, you know, this is the way that I know. I'll just go to like a West Elm or a Patagonia or a Lululemon, or I'll just walk in and look around, do a little shopping, and just smile at people. And however long it takes them to smile back is probably how much danger I'm in. You know, you go into Patagonia, you smiling at everybody, hey, and you get a couple smiles back quick. You're like, all right. We're safe. But if you walk into a West Elm and everybody just looking, looking at each other too. No, you say something. Somebody finally approaches. They're like, can I help you? I know we're not staying there tonight. So then this dude, Uncle Sam, Samuel Jackson, tells him, tighten up. He asks him, Mr. Lamar, do you really know how to play the game? Yeah. Do you really know how to navigate? Do you really know what's expected of you? Do you really know what to do next? Then tighten up. And that's a wild conversation to have with someone who maybe even thinks they're helping you, right? Because that's been told to me in different ways by lots of people. Like, tighten up, watch yourself. Don't be too loud, too ghetto, too reckless, you know what I mean? And sometimes it's white people, sure, but sometimes it's older black people that I know that just want you to be safe because they know how the game is played, right? Because I don't know if you can tell by looking at me, but I'm not exactly a hard individual. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not. You know what I mean? Not only am I not a hard individual, I remember one time, my mama tried to raise me to be a gentleman. And there was this one time, I was in college, and I'm working on a group project, and one of our classmates was ready to go to her car, and she was like, hey, does anybody mind walking me to my car? And I was like, yeah. And then she was like, does anybody mind walking us to my car? I'm not a hard individual. I'm smiling at everybody. Literally, I use the smile test. That's how I know if a place is safe or not. I smile. I make myself open, right? I show. I'm no threat. And I even got in trouble with my friends one time because we were walking down the street in Chicago and made eye contact with this cop, and he was like mourning, just a little passing mourning. And then I didn't realize it came out like this, but apparently I was like, officer. I don't remember it like that, but apparently that's how I sounded. My friends were very upset with me. One of them said I said it like I was welcoming him home. I thought I just said, officer. Apparently I was like, officer? So once again, I'm not a hard individual. So if I've got the speech, if I've got that speech, tighten up. That's too loud, that's too reckless, that's too ghetto. If I got it, damn. There's no end to the game that you can try to play with respectability politics. You can either be yourself or you can't. And if you can't, then to whatever degree that you can't, doesn't really matter. Do you really know how to play the game? Then tighten up. Goes into Man at the Garden. And Man at the Garden is one of those things. It's a refrain. I deserve it all. All these things, right? And he's on the block. And you see these boys on the block, so black. Gold teeth, dreads, everything. And then they scurry. They see Uncle Sam coming. Uncle Sam walks up. Kendrick's already walked off. And he says, oh, you brought your homeboys with you. Okay, little culture cheat code. Turns to the camera and says, scorekeeper, deduct one life. And some people didn't hear it. Apparently the mixing wasn't great for everybody. So there were some people whose review of Super Bowl halftime was pretty bad, and some people thought they were just being haters. But no, genuinely, depending on where you watched, it depended on the mix that you heard. So there were little things that Kendrick said that either went over people's heads, they didn't quite hear, music was too loud, too soft, whatever. I was watching the Super Bowl halftime on Tubi, and Tubi did incredible. Tubi knocked it out of the park. I was like, man, Tubi was like, this is our chance. We cannot mess this up. A lot of people don't know we exist, and we're literally free. We have to knock this out of the park. And they did, because I heard everything. I saw Samuel Jackson turn, scorekeeper, deduct one life, and that thing hit me hard, because that is what happens. That is part of the game. You should know that. That's one of the reasons that it's sometimes scary to stand up, it's scary to be different, because whenever you build community, they usually deduct one life. Whenever you make a movement, They deduct one life. And there are plenty of examples of it happening with black people and black culture, but it is everybody, just so you know. No matter who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter when you came to this country, try to start a union. And look, it might not be you. They might miss. But it is what happens. Deduct one life. And it's wild to hear Samuel Jackson deliver that line, because Samuel Jackson was an usher at Martin Luther King's funeral. Right? Like, Samuel Jackson used to be way more militant. And I'm not saying he's not now. I'm just saying, like, back in the day, he was about that action. He'd lock you in a room and wait till you came to your senses. So then they go to Peekaboo. I don't know, it's just funny to me what character just played Peekaboo. I had to laugh. People have so many theories about Peekaboo, about him using Luther and all the stars, SZA coming out, being on the triangle. Like, I'm not acting like I caught every single thing, but I know that when Samuel Jackson pops up again and he says, "Yes, see, that's what we want. That's what we want. That's what America wants. Nice, calm. You're almost there. Don't mess this up." Right? Yeah. Because if we're being honest, that is the truth of the matter. People, even sometimes people who love hip hop, love black people, love anyone different the way that people love those tigers they take pictures with. I don't know if you've ever been on Tinder. But every once in a while on Tinder, there'll be somebody with one of their pictures is just them next to a full-blown tiger, hugging them. And the tiger's sedated as hell. The tiger is over here. And they're over there hugging its neck like they're in the Jungle Book. Like, we have to protect these beautiful animals, all right? We have to preserve their way of life. Oh, shoot him again. Shoot him again with a dart. He looked like he was opening his eyes for a second. So sweet, so gentle. Deep down, they're just gentle creatures. Shoot him again. He moved. That leg. I don't like what that leg doing. Looked like he gonna get up. And that is how people sometimes, prefer their hip-hop, prefer their protests. Why can't you just do it sedated? Why can't you just tone it down a notch, right? And then he plays Not Like Us. And people lose their minds. I loved him. I loved him playing it because of what he said when he started it. 40 acres and a mule. This is bigger than the music. They tried to rig the game, but you can't fake influence. That's wild. If you really think about those lines in any context outside of the Super Bowl, outside of Drake, the song, Not Like Us, everything, they still stand all on their own. How many of us feel like we're in a rigged game? And it was beautiful to watch Not Like Us get played on that world stage, Drake tried. He tried his best. That dude tried his damnedest. Not only did he try, that dude went to Australia. Not only was he not in America, he was under the earth. This man went under earth to do, to his credit, I'm not acting like he's not a big artist. I'm not acting like he doesn't have an album dropping this weekend. I'm saying, like, this dude went under the earth to do an arena show just to make sure at least these people aren't watching the Super Bowl. Can you imagine? You go to that Anita Max Win tour. paid extra for tickets. You pretty close, and you get a little curious. Drake on stage. What is that? What is that? Get him out of here. Then, you had that dude. That dude performed Not Like Us. When I was like 2 years ago, I went to visit my friend. Now, my friend had a baby years before that. By the time I met his kid was 5, because we hadn't seen each other a really long time. And cutest kid. It's crazy that my friends are having kids because I can see, you ever see somebody who looks so perfectly like a mix of their parents? You see perfectly both of those people in this new person. And we were supposed to hang out all day, and he went and we were in the kitchen, and he grabbed something for us to drink. And so he had poured himself an almond milk, poured kid something, was like, "Will you want anything?" I was like, "Oh, I'll just take that." And then poured me something. He's like, "I'm gonna just go ahead and get changed. I'll be right back." He goes upstairs, and now it's just me and his kid. And I'm like, "How you doing?" He's like, "I'm good." And it's crazy because he even had I'm just meeting this kid, but he already had my buddy's mannerism. Just that shoulder thing. "I'm good." It's exactly like his dad. "I'm good." And it's like, "Oh, okay. You having a good day?" He's like, "Yeah." You know, it's like, "You excited? I think we're gonna go to the zoo or something." He's like, "Yeah, sure, I'm excited. Be fun, you know." And then he turned around and he knocked my milk over. And this kid had been so sweet up until this point. I was sure it was an accident, right? Until he turned to me and he was like, "I spilled your milk." And when I tell you that thing was imprinted on my memory, I had actually forgotten about it for these 2 years. Until Kendrick said, "Say, Drake." Kendrick Lamar has an incredible smile, but he always seems to use it for dastardly deeds. This man said, "Say, Drake." I haven't been that scared. I know he was talking to Drake, but even I was at home like, ooh. That man whipped around and said, "Say, Drake," like he just ran out of the woods. Oh, that was crazy. That was insane. "Say, Drake." And then you see a glimpse of Serena. I couldn't believe I saw Serena dance. I was like, "Is that Serena?" And Kendrick and Dave Free must have known we wouldn't believe it was Serena, because then they showed her again. I was like, "Well, that is Serena!" That's Serena over there, crip walking. Which, if you pay attention to the layers, you pay attention to the storytelling, one of the most beautiful things about Serena being on stage, crip walking, dancing, right, is not just as a sort of FU to Drake, right? Because it is. Because her and Drake, you know. And then Serena moved on, and Drake couldn't handle it. A lot of people think that Kendrick Lamar is Drake's kryptonite, and he really isn't. Drake's kryptonite is a woman who's moved on. Do you know what I mean? There's nothing that Drake hates more than a woman minding her business. And so he would make songs, little sneak disses at Serena, little sneak disses at Rihanna, all this stuff, right? He loves beefing with women who have moved on. The best way I can sum up Drake to me is one time I was in Chicago, and apologies if you've already heard this little quick story, but I was in Chicago and I was sitting on the train, and this woman gets on the train, beautiful, like knockout gorgeous woman, right? And she ended up sitting next to me, and then this other dude gets on the train, and he's sitting across from us, and he tries to holler, you know, he's like, hey, sweet thing, how you doing, right? Now, this dude, to be fair, was very good looking. He was very good looking. Like when I looked up at him, I was like, oh, you two would make sense. Very good looking dude, put together, everything. And he's like, hey, sweet thing, how you doing? What you doing? Where you going? How's your night? You know? And then she looks up from her phone and she goes, oh, nah. And I hated that I was sitting next to her because I had to turn all the way around. But she goes, oh, nah. And he just sits there. Sits there for like, you know, maybe 40 seconds. And then train doors open. And he looks at her and he's like, you can't hurt me. And then he got off the train. And that's what a lot of Drake beefs with women feel like to me. Because the layers of Serena Dance is not just like this FU to Drake. Is one, also, we're playing the game, right? We're all part of the game. And it's a black woman having a good time. It was also pretty revolutionary. You know? And if you follow Serena, and if you follow tennis, you'll know that when she did the same dance at Wimbledon, they came for her hard. They said it was too loud, too reckless, too ghetto. And now she's doing it in front of the world. In front of the world with nothing but joy and people cheering her on, right? Giving us full circle moments. I thought that was so dope. You know? I even tried to do it. I hurt myself. Nah, I popped right up. I was like, oh, Serena! And I think that one of the most revolutionary things you can do is just have joy. Just have a good time. I watch so many people just having fun. I watch people watch it and have fun. That warmed my heart just to see so many people having a good time. I know it wasn't for everybody. I know there were some people that thought it was boring, they didn't like it or whatever. And he said ahead of time, you wouldn't get the picture if I sat you for hours in front of the Louvre. So it may not be for you, and that's okay. But I watched so many people have such a good time. It was dope, you know? And it's more than fitting. It's a blessing. It's an honor to talk with you about this, about black music, about black joy at the Orange Peel in Asheville, North Carolina, a place that in the 60s and 70s had incredible black acts, you know, was sometimes one of the few places that they could get booked, where black-owned radio stations had DJs do party nights. Like, it was great to be here, and I appreciate you having me, you know? I think that for the most part, when I think about the halftime show and when I rewatch it for the 100th time, And there were so many people that were critical of Kendrick. It should have been more. He should have done more. He should have like gone up there, been more militant. He should have done this, should have done this. And it's like, look, can I just tell you, I'm not trying to be a bummer when I say this, but like everything you've ever watched that ever went out on a broadcast that you thought was revolutionary or you thought was ultra militant was approved for you to see by a corporate lawyer. Like all of it was, you know? In fact, whenever a moment gets through that's not that thing, that person usually faces swift consequences. There are so many people that are like, no, he didn't go far enough. He could have done so much more. And it's like, look, I understand. That's what people are saying. But if you really believe that, if you really believe that he should have done so much more, I can tell you this, art can save your life. Art can absolutely save your life. I believe it from the bottom of my heart. But believe me when I tell you that entertainment will never be your salvation. All right? Art can save your life, but entertainment by and large is escapism. And no one has ever escaped their chains by forgetting they were there. So you cannot, when I tell you, you will not be saved through entertainment alone. Expecting Kendrick to rap so good that Trump is like, I'ma stop. Like, be serious. If you really believe that, if you really believe he didn't go far enough, he didn't do enough, there was so much more he could have done, forget the symbolism, forget the double entendres, he should have spoke plainly, he should have put it all out there. I have great news for you. There are these things called books, right? There's these things called books, and every revolutionary that the government was scared enough to murder, almost all of them wrote one before they died. And they're so confident that you won't read it, they have it for free at the library. I'm just genuinely, I don't know what to say sometimes when people are like, why didn't he do this? It's like, I don't know, man. I'm not in his head. You know, he's great. You can't expect him to save you. He did an entire album where he said he wasn't our savior. The whole album where he was like, yeah, but I rap. I think it was incredible. I think it was a phenomenal show, especially in a year and a time where there are people that would have Black history disappear. You know, there are people that would have us forget. And I think the only way to stop Black history from going away is to make more of it all the time. Make new history all the time, new moments, you know? Because so many people were like, man, it was so boring, I didn't get it. And it's like, you know, it's the most watched thing right under the moon landing, but I'm sure that was hate watching. You're right. I think that whatever you take away from the performance, if it's art that touched you, that made you feel something, that's good. That's all you can hope for. But if you want like a revolution, if you want change, you're probably gonna have to go outside and get some or make some. That, like if you want, like, cause then, you know, he plays Not Like Us and then we all scream Mustard. DJ Mustard comes out, they're dancing. And one thing I really loved about the performance, genuinely from the bottom of my heart, is that almost always what people will do, the Super Bowl thing to do is go out there and play your hits. Make a medley that reminds us why we love you, right? And this dude, he did some of his hits, but he mostly did this GNX album. He even says it when they start playing TV Off. This is GNX. We came here from Compton, California to party with y'all. Master. You know? Then the Super Bowl halftime show ends after he hits that TV off, game over, cold stuff. And then they come back. Tom Brady's like, well, let's see if Patrick Mahomes can really bring it home. He's so good. I've heard he's great. I've heard he's fantastic. So I'm sure he can come back from this 2,000-point deficit. No, for real though. If you want change, art can save you. Entertainment will never be your salvation. And so if you really want to see a different neighborhood, a different country, a different world, you probably gonna have to turn TV off.
San Antonio, Texas, please make it loud for Josh Johnson!
If I'm truly being honest with y'all, one thing I've not been able to stop thinking about is the tariffs. It's all I can think about, because all I read about, because it seemed like everybody is like, oh, this is bad. I know people who do not watch the news at all that are like, why is everything red? Did everybody change logos or something? Every time I turn on TV, everything red. What is that? My TV bleeding, something going on. No, in case you have not been aware, in case you're trying to protect yourself and go about your day, there's been a bit of a trade war going on. The wildest thing about a trade war is that you are allowed to okay. I was trying to put this in perspective. Okay, you know how when you were on the playground and somebody would be like, my dad can beat up your dad. And you were like, oh, you think your dad can beat up my dad? It's like, yeah, I think my dad can beat up your dad. And then, kid one over here is like, yeah, well, my dad goes to CrossFit. And, kid two is like, yeah, well, my dad has been to jail. Sort of the CrossFit of life. So I bet you my dad can beat up your dad. And then, other kid, CrossFit kid, dad is like, my dad, he has swords. He has swords, so you can try to beat him up, but he'll chop your dad up. And then kid two is like, well, my dad has guns. That's actually why he had to go to the CrossFit of life. It's because he has lots of those. A couple swords too, but he prefers to bring the guns when he has issues. And then, CrossFit, sword, dad, kid is like, yeah, well, my dad is 6'5", so he could definitely beat up your dad. And then, gun, jail. Kid is like, oh, my dad is 5'2", so he has quite a chip on his shoulder, so your dad will be dying, all right? And that's kind of what a trade war is like. You know what I mean? It's like nothing has to happen in the moment, but it is a lot of being behind the desk like, I bet you my economy can beat up your economy. And yeah, we know that Trump loves tariffs because even in his first term, he had a lot of tariffs on China for steel and everything. And he campaigned on tariffs and what he thought tariffs would do, at least what he says that they'll do for the U.S. economy in the long run. And so we know that he is serious about the tariffs. I think there were definitely some people that thought that he wasn't serious about the tariffs, and that was a mistake because he was very serious about the tariffs. He was so serious about the tariffs that apparently, now look, I'm gonna do my best here. I am both
paraphrasing for the sake of brevity and going off of things that I've read and things that I've been told, and I am not an economist. So I'll do my best job, but I'm telling you, I'm gonna be wrong, okay? But I'm gonna be as close to right as possible on purpose. But apparently this man loves tariffs so much that right when he took office, there were economists, conservative Trump voting Republican economists who, while leaning right, still understand the economy. They still, that's not a dig. I'm saying that the two things can exist together. I'm saying that they understand the economy and they vote the way they vote, but they know the numbers, is what I'm saying. Because I'm not an economist, they understand the economists, kind of. So they immediately went to work coming up with tariff plans, so that way, whenever Trump wanted to enact his tariffs, they would have the numbers ready, right? And so they did all the math, and they did all the going back and forth, and did all the figuring out that could be figured. You know, and then they went to Trump, and he wasn't happy with the plan, apparently, because in order to enact the tariffs the way that he wants, the numbers, a lot of them at least, were quite small. So then Trump, paraphrasing, but he was like, what is this 1.7? What is this 2.8, these 2.3, this 0.8? No, we need big numbers. We need to impress the people. You gonna send me out there and embarrass me in front of America? I need big numbers. Get me some big numbers, which apparently is why when he walked out with that poster board, you know that... You saw the board. You know that board that... You saw that poster board. It looked like homework, right? Like that poster board. Yeah, poster board out, and he was going down the line, right? He was going down and just naming places like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, little bit of jelly donut, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, a little bit of chicken grease. That was not 100, that was a 10, 10, 10, 10, 94. You know, because he hit the world with 10% tariffs. If you were anywhere on earth, you could get this 10. Please don't think you can't get this 10 just because you uninhabited. Anybody can get it. Anybody can get it. Please believe me when I tell you. Anybody can get it. All right? You think you cute because you just got some little aminals on your little island? You still getting it. All right? We don't care. This is America. We do what we do when we feel like it. 10, 10, 10, 34, 10, 10, 10, 10, 78, 10, 10, 10. And it was perplexing. The economists didn't understand it. Top Republicans didn't understand it. Even the people that were in support of Trump and his tariffs couldn't tell you that they really understood it. No one really understood it because there wasn't too much to understand. Everybody who does numbers was like, ooh, this is not numbers. This is not the numbers that I thought it was when I thought They were on like CNBC, basically any money channel, any money news channel, when these tariffs went out, they were on there cursing live. They were like, fine us, we don't care, we're all gonna die. You think I care about $10,000? I'll throw you another couple. The dude who does the bleeps must have had money in the market because he was gone. They were up there cursing live. I couldn't believe it. Normally, you'd even see the blurry mouth. I saw them enunciate the swear words. I was like, okay. This might be bad then, if the people who do money all day are upset and they looking at the red and everything look upside down on the graphs. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to go up like this. Yeah, I mean, you getting a little low. Dow Jones was not playing. That Dow Jones was like, hey, I'm dead, y'all. No. Yeah, that S&P 500 was down to 5. It was bad. It's like these were rough moments we were in, and nobody really understood why. We lost $3 trillion of value in the market in a day. People were showing me pictures of the stock market and the S&P and the Dow, and then their portfolio, and I was like, man, we got to pick a different color, because that much red ain't good for your eyes. But yeah, apparently, there were economists that tried to figure out something that would do what Trump said they wanted to do, but he was like, no, I need to go out to the people and really make a statement, and I need to make a statement for the other nations so they take this thing seriously. So, 10, give me some 34s, give me some 55s, I'll take anything, just bring it all to me. And they were like, sir, that isn't math. That may not work, but Trump was so dead set on going to other countries like, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, you get a tariff, like an opposite Oprah, like a reverse Oprah. You get a tariff, you cry and take that tariff, right? And now this part, I hope, is not true. I'm repeating it because I've read it like in 5 different places. It's been told to me 3 different times, but apparently he sort of sent away the plan that the actual economist wrote up, and then he asked someone else to draw up a plan that would do the tariffs truly bigly, right? Like we really making a statement. And in doing that, they did, apparently, I don't want this to be true because it means we're all doomed, but apparently they did ask ChatGPT what to do with which I don't know, I feel like even when they typed that in to ChatGPT, Chat was like, you sure, dog? Which is a fitting bit of irony, though. It is kind of funny to me that like ChatGPT wrote up a formula that was then applied that then tanked the stock of the company that owns ChatGPT. Like it's a beautiful little closed loop. But ChatGPT went ahead and did its thing. They asked him, hey, how can we tariff the whole world and not have everybody die? And ChatGPT was like, I don't know about the die part, but I will get you a little formula real quick. And it went and then it dropped this formula, and that's the same formula that they've been showing. Now this formula, it does have all the components of like a math equation. It's got the parentheses in there, it's got some X and some Y, has a little cursive, it has that little squiggly thing for when you divide, and I think it has everything that you've ever like looked at a meme about confusion that was coming at you, it's in there. It's all that stuff. All that beautiful mind drawing stuff is what's in the thing. It's got some tops, it's got some bottoms. It's got some other like little symbols rubbing together and everything. But apparently, when plugging in any type of numbers into this equation, they still got the math wrong. So no matter if this thing came from ChatGPT or if it came from some mathematic genius, when applied, it was still applied wrong because the tariffs more went towards the tariff amounts more went to trying to reciprocate the amount of money with countries that we had a deficit with than the actual like reciprocal tariff, if that makes sense. Like we applied that thing as if, oh, they're just tariffing us this much, so we're gonna tariff them the same amount. But rather than actually doing that, we were like, here is some math just to make everybody confused real quick, and then we'll actually go ahead and slap a tariff on them for their deficit or for their surplus, which also does not make any sense because then we're both punishing people who buy a lot from us and punishing the people we sell to off the things that we sold them to make things for us, right? So it's basically like being in a bad marriage where like it's like being in a bad marriage where it's like, well, I don't know why you hate me. You married me. Like, I'm just over here being your husband. I don't really get Why you so mad at me right now? Ooh, you hate me, but you married me. Anyway. And so that is partially where we landed, which is distressing. You know, that first day, these tariffs get applied, the markets react and everything, and $3 trillion of value is just gone, sort of wiped out in the moment. And then the next day it was worse, because the next day they were like, oh, we still doing it because we can get redder. We can get, oh, we haven't even broke out all the red in the crayon box yet. We can keep getting red. And then there was like another $6 trillion loss, like over time. But like we were at $6 trillion, I think, by like that Friday at 4 p.m. or something. And then we lost money over the weekend, which I didn't even think was possible. I thought the whole point of the market closing was to close. Don't keep counting. That doesn't feel fair to me, to keep counting even though we closed and now I owe more than I owed before. That's not fair at all. But then when Japan opened up and Japan was plunging about 8% on their market, and then our futures were also our futures, you know the future, you know the thing you're supposed to look forward to, that was also looking bleak for us. And then our market opened and the market was like, no, we still dying, dog. I'm not pretending. I'm not gonna pretend to know math. You know what I mean? I've met math. I've been affected by math, for sure. Math rules everything around me, yes. But when I tell you that the reason I don't want to hold like public office, I don't want to do any of that stuff, is because I don't want my math to affect anybody else, because I'm bad at it. I'm bad at math. The only time that my math affects other people's lives is when it's my turn to pay at dinner. And that is a bummer for everyone. That is, you can feel it. Okay. When it's my turn to pay for the check and I'm trying to, in my head, out loud, figure out the tip to then add I gotta divide to do the tip, and then I gotta add the number I just divided and then put that together and put that on the total on the merchant copy, all right? We're all up to speed. We've all been to a restaurant. But watching me do that it instantly feels like when the teacher would make you read in class, but you knew a big word was coming up. You had been trying to sound out this word while the teacher was talking about some other stuff, because you had already counted the paragraphs. The teacher making everybody go one paragraph for paragraph for paragraph, and you like, okay, I'm sitting here, which means I'm 8 paragraphs away. That's my word. Oh no! And so then you trying to sound out the word in your head, but you can't sound out in your head. So you're like, maybe I'm not even sounding out right now because my head is quiet. And then they get to you and it's your turn to read, and you're like reading all good, killing it. You even sounding out the commas. You know what I mean? You see that comma and you go, pause. And then you finally hit that big word and you like, all right. Hey, you old enough now, you don't want to sound like you sounded out, because everybody will think you can't read even though you read half the paragraph with no problem. You did mic drops on those periods. Anytime there was a period in a sentence, you were like, this good textbook right here. Yeah, what do y'all know about this English lesson, this Chaucer, okay? And then you finally get to the word and you're like, that's a cough. That was a cough. That wasn't even me reading just now. That's And the teacher goes, scrumptious. I was getting to it. I was getting to it. I was just trying to enjoy the word. I was trying to chew on the word. You the one getting all impatient and stuff. You trying to teach us patience. You're not even patient. That's me. Like, at least the closest I come to ruining everybody's life with math is when it's my turn to pay at dinner and I'm trying to factor out loud the tip and I'm... Hearing me try to do math in my head, hearing a grown man say carry the is not gonna inspire confidence in my abilities, right? If I'm sitting there with the, okay, and then you got the two right there, all right? Anytime I gotta do math without a calculator or a pencil, it's a whole conversation. I'm literally sitting there like, all right, so, I'm gonna do 25% because she was killing it, all right? So 25%, that's even better because it's also a quarter. Now I just gotta break this down into 4 parts and then put that line there, right? So now all I gotta do is get you to be still, be still, be still, be still. Stop it. I'm telling a 6 to stop it out loud at the table. Stop moving, all right? So now we gonna carry the 3, and if that 6 will be still, I think we at 9. No, that's up. That's not even division. That's more. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna put a 4 here, and that 4 gonna slide up and trip that 5. Gonna kick the legs up under that 5. And then that's a 1. Why couldn't this be an even number? Why couldn't somebody just order the guacamole like I said? That would have got us closer. Okay, so 7 and 3, that's 10 anyway. So that's 10. So now we know we're gonna have a 2 in there. I know y'all want to go. All right? Get in the car then. Get in the car. I'll follow. Yeah. And then I get embarrassed. And so I just write the total twice. And then I'm like, at least if I tip 100%, nobody could be mad at me. But then I'm sitting there like, can I really afford this? Because then I got to get in the car and do the math in my head of my account. I'm like, all right, so we eating on Sunday, all right? Tomorrow is a business day. It's not going to go through till tomorrow. So if I add a 20 to the account, ooh, I'm overdrafting hard. Oh, I don't know what the number is, but I know that fee gonna hit. We're in a bad way. One of the biggest problems that I think is facing Americans and the country is that we don't have a sort of cohesive identity of care for each other. So, for instance, something could happen to a large swath of Americans, and there'd be other Americans that are like, all right, good, I don't care, whatever. And I'm not saying any country is perfect, and I know that some of the countries I'm mentioning have at least a little bit of a homogeny to them and everything, but whether you're Portuguese, you're Spanish, you're Italian, you're Brazilian, you're Mexican, when something happens and it happens to your countrymen, you see it as happening to your countrymen, because they're all in a country together. They're all like in this thing together. I'm not saying there's not poor and rich and they don't have some of the same problems that we have. I'm not saying that factions haven't split people more than ever before, especially with the internet. I'm just saying that like they can look at a person they don't know and be like, that is my countryman, right? And we haven't had something like that for a long time. There are whole parts of the country that if you put them in a room together, we assumed they would fight. We assumed that it would come to blows almost immediately, just off of like, hey, do you want to pass the salt? Like, just like not even a political thing, just, it would just happen eventually, you know? And I thought that the connective tissue that we had as a country would put us together cohesively was at least like capital. I thought it was at least money. I thought that money would be at least the one thing that made us go, all right, we should all stop and figure this thing out right now. If it's not money, I don't know what it is. Like visiting another country and seeing it doesn't have to be this way is crazy. I'm surprised that's what we're not allowed to do. I'm surprised we're allowed to still travel. Because if you go anywhere else on like planet Earth, and I'm not talking about every place, I'm just saying, there are places that you look around and you'll be like, y'all don't just punch people in the face for being broke? Y'all don't just... Wow, all right, crazy. Going to another country that's like functioning and seeing how they operate is like going to a functional family's house for dinner. Like, it's just... You're just sitting there astonished. You're like, everybody here? Everybody sitting at the table together? All right. Got mom, got dad, got kids, and invited me over as a guest, and y'all just all smiling. As the dad, you're just sitting there. You're just sitting there asking your kids about their day. Their day at school. What are you doing, dude? What are you doing? You should be abandoning all of them right now. You should be abandoning all of them. You should be going to Vegas and putting it all on black, and then you win. You actually win. You doubled your net worth in a day, and then you put it all on red because you had a feeling, and then you lost it all, and then you're sitting in this casino's cafeteria where there's very nice food, but somehow it's still like a disgusting cafeteria, and you've got these crab legs and these lobster tails in front of you, but you're wondering what you're going to do after tonight because there's nowhere to go because you left home. That's what you should be doing. Not asking your kids, how was school? Like, and then the mom sitting here. Mom sitting here, help dad cook the meal. They cooked it together as a family unit. You know, they didn't just fall into general norms. You know, they figured out that he bakes good and she makes great chicken, so she made the chicken, he baked some bread and everything, and it's all on the table together. They're watching their children eat it for the nourishment of their bodies. Food that they bought through the work that they do. They both work jobs. You have to be a 2-income household now. It can't just be one person working, and so they worked really hard and they bought that food and they cooked that food to the best of their ability, and now it's going to feed their children and give them good nourishment for their bodies, and they don't resent those kids at all, and that's crazy. Like, why aren't you looking at these kids like they ruined everything? Why aren't you telling them what you did before they were born? Like as a dad, you should be telling them, I used to dunk. All right? I used to have a sick vertical, and then, you know, you came along and I was trying to put your car seat in the car and close the door too fast and slam my knee. I'll never jump again, but enjoy your baked goods. Like, that's the type of dad that you should be. You're just over here smiling at them, watching them enjoy your bread. Oh, Dad, it's so good. And as the mom, you're over here working a job, cooking as well, and not resenting anyone here. You did a great job cooking. Rosemary chicken, it's delicious. Succulent, not dry at all. How'd you manage that? How'd you manage not to dry it out? The rosemary's perfectly on there, and you shouldn't be here. You should be cheating. You should be cheating to give your kids something to fight against, okay? You want to make your kid a star athlete, you go out there right now and you cheat. You break up this family. So that the only solace they can find is baseball, and then they just hit dinger after dinger every game because they're hitting their trauma. They're hitting their trauma. And then one day a scout from a good college, a college they couldn't possibly afford because it's not a 2-income household anymore. One of those colleges comes to scout this kid, and they're like, man, that kid's got trauma, talent. And we have to get him on this school's team, full ride. He goes from that full ride to AAA minor into the majors. And then one day they're interviewing him at the end of a game where he's hit the dinger that won them the World Series. And he's like, hey, I don't know where, I'm sorry, I'm getting so emotional. I don't know where, my mom and dad are, but just know that I love you and I hope you're watching. And I did this for you, okay? I did this for you. I love you so much. You should be doing that instead of just helping them with their homework. And the kids are like sitting there well behaved, which is crazy. It's crazy. They're not hitting each other at all. They're not trying to put a fork in the other's temple at all. They're just sitting there enjoying like mom and dad's cooking and everything, laughing at each other's jokes. Hey, I have a joke. Everyone cares. Like it's insane. You're sitting at a table as a family in America. This should not be happening, all right? As the son, you should be sitting there yelling at your dad, give me back my skateboard or I'll kill you. Like, that's more our speed, And that's what it feels like to just go to another country and watch them go to the hospital when they need to go to the hospital. Like that's, just watch social safety nets happen and have just like a general care for citizens and stuff. That's what that feels like when it happens. One of the things that makes it so bad is that we have this attitude because of the strength of the dollar and because it is the base of like the world's currency. Everyone compares their currency to the dollar, the strength of their currency, the strength of the dollar, and people would like to be paid in dollars, at least for now. And there's an attitude that we have as Americans that it has to be that way. That we don't know any other way, so it must stay that way. So it really doesn't matter what we do, but it does. It does. All of that belief, all of that standard, with us as a standard, is confidence. And if your partners lose confidence in you, it's not going to be good for you. If your confidence is waning because of moves that have been made and unpredictability, then people will try to figure something else out. That's a little terrifying. I'm not an economist. I don't know how all of it works. I just know that you can only really bully the whole world for so long. Do you know what I mean? There was a flight a couple years ago where on this flight, this dude on the flight stands up mid-flight and is talking wild and reckless. This dude stands up and he's like, I'm gonna kill everybody in here, okay? All right, you're all gonna die. Do you understand me? Every single one of you is gonna bleed and die. And he's making all these weird movements and he is freaking people out and people are stuck in their seats. They're like paused in their seats. There's only one person who's like taking a little bit of cell phone footage of this dude because nobody knows what this dude is gonna do, and he's getting up so confident and he's so scared because I guess he's like a bigger dude as well, and he's like, no, y'all are all gonna die. He's clearly having like some sort of mental episode, but at the same time nobody can know how serious he is or like what his problem is or anything, and people are frozen in their seats, right? And he's like, I'm gonna kill every single one of you. You're all gonna die. I'm gonna crash this plane. And then he tries to get into the cockpit as well. He can't get into the cockpit because that's locked. And finally, this dude goes into, I think it's his back pocket, right? And everybody's expecting a knife, a gun, and this dude has a spoon. And And when everyone realized that all he had was a spoon, talking this reckless, they whooped his ass. There was plenty of cell phone footage of that. They were whooping this dude. I know they don't do it on flights anymore because people have allergies, but back in the day, they used to have peanuts on flights. And every once in a while, somebody would open the peanut packet too hard, and the peanuts would go everywhere. They go over the tray table, but then they go in the aisle, and they bounce all down the aisle because the plane was still getting some altitude and everything. And he kind of looked like that peanut. They were passing him around, beating his ass. They were really tossing him back and forth. And then he still had the spoon. Was like, wait. Man, that cracked me up. Wait! Duh. They made that man sound like tennis in there. That man, he was using the spoon a little bit. He was like, man. And people were like, all right, fingers and eyes. There were other people who never got the chance to beat his ass that just watched it with their phones, and you could see them just with the eyes going, ooh. And then they restrained him, and then they landed. Cops got on the plane like, damn. I thought we were whooping ass. Man, this man tied down to the seat with seatbelts and duct tape and still got the spoon. And then, in the midst of all this turmoil, all this red, Trump tweeted, or, great time to buy. That's the most unserious thing I've ever heard in my life. Honestly, look. Admit it for a second to yourself. You don't have to say it out loud, but just know in your heart, if this was any other country, you would be laughing your ass off at that. That is very, very, very funny. That is so inappropriate and so funny at the same time. It's basically like somebody driving the car towards your car accident going, wee! And then, because we don't have a serious system, because we're not doing things the way that maybe anybody should do them. Somebody from Trump's administration, I'm pretty sure his cabinet, and I don't want to say the wrong name, but just know that they're in his circle. They went on, maybe it was CNBC, it was one of the major news networks, and they were asked by the anchor, hey, do you think there's any possibility that all these tariffs, all this stuff going out is really just to raise the alarm bells, and that there's a possibility of a sort of 90-day situation, just like with Canada and Mexico? And then that guy said, yeah, the president's going to decide what he wants to decide. He's going to do what he wants to do. But then, off of that, you heard me when I said, yeah, the president's going to decide what he's going to do. Yeah, just off that noise, that noise right there. Yeah. Someone clipped that and tweeted the yeah. And then they said that there was about to be a 90-day pause. And then the market went up $3 trillion because we are not really here, I guess. Like, that's one of the craziest things I've ever heard. I knew money wasn't real before, but I didn't know. That's a noise. He didn't even give it a full yeah. Yeah. $3 trillion from right? And then it went back down again because the White House came out and was like, we never said that. And so it dropped all the way back. And then like 2 days later, Trump reversed the tariff. 2 days later, he was like, yeah. He reversed the tariffs, and then the market shot up like $3 trillion again. I'm starting to think the market only understands $3 trillion. And I'm not saying I knew it would happen. If I did, I would have made a lot of money, like some of those people that are potentially going to be investigated because they had calls on the market for 2,000%, and then they very rich. Trump even pointed one out. He was like, that guy made $9 billion whatever he said. And yeah, I'm just saying, I didn't expect it. I did not expect there to be a ton of follow through in that. I'm just saying that when he said, I'm not saying I believe everything he says. I'm saying I thought he believed what he said when he said it. I thought, look, I'm not saying I believe when he says the thing. I don't know if I believe it. But when anyone says what they say, you would think that they would know if they believe it or don't believe it because they said it, because they're alone in there with their head to say it or not say it, and then to know if they're lying or not lying. But then I was not in his head, so I'm like, I don't know, right? But I thought he would know whether or not he meant what he said anytime he speaks, just for himself, not for us. I understand the man can lie, but this in your head just for you is where I don't think you should be able to fool yourself. I don't think you should be able to trick yourself that way. If you said it, you alone in your head in your room of one should know what you mean when you say it. And I know that doesn't make sense, but it makes as much sense as the tariffs because it is in his head by himself. So, all right. Yeah. That was the thing. That was the thing. And then he, reversed the tariffs on a bunch of countries, except he increased the tariffs on China because they had increased the tariffs on us in the wake of that thing happening. So then it was really just my dad can beat up your dad. I didn't forget you from before, so just know that my dad can beat up your dad. And then China was like, you don't look. China made a statement early into the little tariff trade war where they were like, if the U.S. wants a trade war or any other type of war, we're ready and we'll fight to the end. And that's a lot. That's a lot. I thought we were talking about numbers, and that's another place to take it. And then Trump raised it to like almost 150% on, and this is my thing. I'm not an economist. I don't even know math. But can we at least keep the percents in the 100, please? You know what I mean? Because we're getting into some dangerous territory. The only other place that percents have gone over 100 and has been bad for people in this way is Maury. Maury had people on that were 1,000% sure, and they couldn't have been more wrong. They could not have been more fundamentally incorrect. One of my favorite, in case you're not familiar with Maury, in case you have not been blessed with the afternoon programming, the after school watching that was Maury, there were episodes of Maury. Maybe my favorite episode of all time was white woman, white man, black baby, fraternity episode. That was art. So white woman over here, and she's like, that's his baby, Maury. That's his baby. Why won't he take care of his responsibilities more? Okay, so we dated for a while. We would hook up from time to time, and then we broke up. So I was out. You know what I mean? I saw some people, but that's his baby. Look at it. The baby got a head. He got a head. That's his baby. All right. And then I never thought that I would have to say it this way, but then this poor white man had to, in real time, navigate, making sure everyone understood he was not the father while not saying anything horrifically offensive. And to his credit, he really kept a cool head and did his best. He was like, okay, look. We all God's children, all right? Okay, and I mean this with no disrespect to the African American gentleman baby or the community at large, but he and I are not kin. And then Maury, who is normally the voice of reason, who you think would have his back, says out loud, "You don't think this could be your child?" And this man is sitting here like, Maury, don't make me say it. Are you serious? Look at the screen. And then he read it out. He was like, the DNA results are in. He pulls it out of the envelope and he goes, "When it comes to the case of 2-year-old Dalmon Travius, Mike, you are not the father." And of course she was like, "No!" And she did 6 backflips and ran outside. And then he went, "Yeah, I know." Y'all be blessed. And that's my thing. It's like if you're gonna be more than 100% sure, you have to be so sure. You have to be right. You have to be correct. And China came out with a statement. I think it was today. It might have been yesterday. I don't know. I just saw it where they were like, due to the U.S. Tariff raise, we will be raising tariffs 125%, and any other raises the U.S. will do in retaliation will be inconsequential and will be seen as a joke in the history of economies. And I'm just saying, maybe you don't want to get into a math contest with China. Y'all been fantastic. Thank y'all so much. Trillion, that's a lot. Trillion, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot.